All right. Hi, Jeff. First off, welcome to the channel. As league president, what is your favorite part of your job?
I think, people always think about baseball as being basically like your love of the game and all that. And that is, that's part of the equation. But really what I love is the relationships that you build over time. And as not just myself, but seeing other members of the league grow and develop friendships, not just, not just for like a year, but like lifelong relationships and friends. And we become a brotherhood. And I love being part of that aspect of the league and seeing that within all the different divisions and the teams. And it just that it's about life, right? How do you develop those relationships?
Okay, and then kind of to follow that up, what started you on your journey as league president and just being in the league in general, for those who don't know your story?
Sure. Well, I have been in the league a very long time, since the late 90s. I had run into an old college teammate when I was playing golf one day. He's like, "Hey, you want to come and play a game?" And I'm like, I haven't played in a while, and went down and realized that I could still swing the bat, still had the joy for the game, and started playing again, and really just became dedicated to being a player, and eventually took over as a manager of that particular team for a couple of years, and just my nature just wanting to see things get better. Started serving on in different roles for the league, and then eventually we developed a board, and the board is what now runs the league. So I'm just part of the equation of all the different great folks that are contributing their time to making this league better.
Now, if I remember correctly, when we first met in 2021, you were manager of the Cutters, is that correct?
I was managing the Cutters, yes, in the 18 plus division.
Okay, so if you can reflect back on that experience, what did you enjoy most about it, and just kind of your overall, reflection? Because, like you said, you've had a lot of different hats in the league. So, how do you reflect back on that experience?
Sure. So, being a player manager, that definitely evolved over time. So, I define myself probably more as of a player manager for a while, where I was at the top of my game playing, but I could also manage at the same time. Um, love that angle. But then slowly, what started to happen is I started to see I wanted to see other players succeed, and my skill set wasn't as strong as when I was younger. So slowly, as that was going on, I started to manage more and really start to see other people have success and enjoy seeing their success playing and seeing their passion and trying to harness some of that. So that's where that evolution started happening as the manager, and I got to say, got to have a lot of joy in both areas. Just fortunate enough uh, to, to be on some teams and around some great teammates where we won a championship. Uh, we won three championships when we were previous to the Cutters. We were called the Yankees. Somehow we were named the Yankees in the Boston area, and then three championships as the Cutters. So had a really good ride, and just decided that it was time not to be hanging out with all the 18-year-olds anymore, and running that age group. Let the next generation take over, and that was as of a couple of years ago.
All right, and then what was your favorite championship that you won, or your favorite moment, if you have one?
Favorite championship? I do think about that a lot, Whitney. I think about that, like which was my favorite one. It's like when you look at the Patriots, which is your favorite championship, the Red Sox, which is your favorite. They all have their different flavors. Um, I think I kind of go back to one of the first ones, or the first one. I remember being on that championship team and not realizing that we were going to win thinking we were going to win, but not really knowing. You never know, right? And it was like the sixth inning of the game, and we were winning the game by a couple of runs, and I was thinking, oh my God, we're going to win the championship. And it was just a very exciting. It was a very exciting time. So that's, just that first championship was really special, and they're all special, but I think that first one was there. And I think probably one of the later ones. That's when we had a Yankees championship, and then we had on the Cutters, we had a championship, and our team was just stacked. We had some just tremendous players on that team, and we won that year, and that was just an example of just great excellence as we as we won that.
What year was that? Just out of curiosity.
2000, I don't know, 2013. I don't know why that's coming to my mind. Maybe it might even be earlier than that.
Okay, I mean, people watching might be curious, so that's why I had that question in mind. But yeah, it sounds like you've had a lot of great teams and games that you've watched. So I guess the next question is not just obviously with the Cutters, but as league president and other roles that you've been in, other games that you've been to. What's been your favorite game of all time that you've ever been to, and why?
Of all games, are we talking just the amateur, or are we talking professional?
Oh, in the BNBL.
Oh, it's got to be one of those. Oh, it's got to be one of those championships. Um, it's hard again. It's hard to pick which one of those games. I guess since I went back to the memory of that game, I'm gonna go back to that memory. It was like 1990, 99 when we won that first championship, and that game where we won the championship. So that was pretty special. Any of the deciding games are like immediately rise to the top.
Since obviously, like I said, I don't think there's video of that game at the moment. What was kind of the deciding factor in that game? Like, was it, a game-winning home run? Kind of describe that moment for anyone who may have not been there.
Yeah, I think we had an amazing run. It was the Yankees versus the Pirates that was run by Eric August back in the day. He was a spectacular player. He was also a player manager, pitcher. And we have Brian Garvin on the mound, old school Brian Garvin, Snoop Dogg, big lanky lefty, 6'10". He wasn't 6'10", but he was tall, and he's still, well, best pitcher I've seen in this league. And I was fortunate enough to be able to play behind him, and we just had a great run. Old Mike Ganley was also on that team. Mike Ganley, for those of you who don't know, he now is working for the Boston Red Sox, also founder of something that everyone in the leagues uses regularly, 400 hitter. So just really old crew, great old crew that we had that won that championship. That was kind of like the early memory of a great game. And then going further when we were in the as the Cutters, it was one of the final championships. One of the, we were just so great. I remember a moment in the deciding game. We had guys like AJ Bucciarelli on the team, and Tony Ramos and John Costas, just all these great players, and we were so strong. There was this one play. I'm not really that spry as a player. Like I'm not. I can hit, but like the running is not my thing. And I had to run I was rounding third and going to home. And somehow the throw came in. I was able to like jump over the catcher and be safe at home plate. I don't know how I was able to do that, but I was able to maneuver that move and be safe. And I think that was the last aerobic type of move that I've made on the base paths.
So last season, there are a lot of people that had great seasons winning MVP, Cy Young. Brock Riley kind of comes to mind because I just interviewed him. Which of those performances was most impressive to you? Whether it's the Brock Rileys or anyone else, that won any awards. Who was most impressive and why?
Like Thomas Lahane is just sick at the plate. I mean, he always is having a great year. He can just smoke the ball. Different players on that team. John Letourneau, I mean, he's been in the league forever. Lumpy, as he's known, he's always coming up with some big hits. He had a big hit in the championship game last year for the 18 plus. So it's just great to see the new players and existing players just continue to perform in the league.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember that moment specifically from Maine because I was in the broadcast booth and um just the experience of calling that home run for the first, I think that was the first actual home run that I've ever seen in any game that I've broadcasted. So it was a really cool moment and
Yeah, it was a bomb. And you get guys like
forgettable.
Mike, you got guys like the ages Mike Nell on the team. He can still steal bases. He was recently elected into the Hall of Fame. So just a solid team. They'll have they'll have a strong core coming back for 2025.
Every season, players have a chance to compete in tournaments. From the Scream tournament in October to obviously the 100 inning game, and other tournaments in between Cooperstown. Um, and alongside with their regular season and postseason as well. Why is that so important to have those kind of tournaments and that kind of exposure and just the competition that comes with it? And how does that impact the league in general?
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that question. I think when people think of joining a league, they sometimes think of the league, and there's 25 games in a season, 24. It just depending on which division you join. But we take the approach with the Boston Metro Baseball League is that it's really a year-long type of approach to baseball, and it goes beyond just the season, and that's important because all right, well, you're going to keep your play up. All right, well, you still keep them playing, your mind's there, but it's not just about that. It goes back to what I was saying before. It's about the relationship. So you're able to keep those communications with your teammates, but also go beyond your teammates, have friends off your team within the league. And that's a big thing in, not just in baseball, but in life, having those friendships. So, we have numerous tournaments that we'll support, ranging from there's a Cooperstown tournament that's in the summertime. We recently took this over with Chris Curry, really just taking the lead on this with the Cape tournament in the fall, and that's an awesome tournament that's been going on for years. And when you have a bunch of guys that are together that are playing baseball in the Boston area, and then they go someplace else and they're away and they're having, they're going to have a dinner and hanging out with their families. That's a special thing. So that we can see that those relationships get fostered with the support of the league. That's something we really like to see and something we pride on as a league to see those continued relationships.
Where does the league fit in Boston baseball? Kind of what is the state of your league or in relationship to that, and how does that look like moving
Sure. Uh, there are a lot of great baseball opportunities in the Boston area. Let's talk about once you leave high school, right? So once you're in high school, you're playing high school, some Legion ball, but what do you do? What do you do after that? Um, as a player, whether you're 18 or 80 years old, which we have someone close to that age in our league, you have opportunities to play baseball. So Boston really gives players the opportunity to play in different areas. So I'll just give you a couple examples of some different leagues. If you're like 18 years old, thinking you're a highly touted prospect, you're going to D1 college, you want to play a lot of baseball in the summertime, you got leagues like the Park League, Inner City, North Shore League, Yawkey League. So these leagues play like 4 nights a week, right? Like intense schedule, designed to play like May through August, just before college ends. College age, you're going to play a lot. Those are great development leagues for like going further and playing baseball. Where we kind of look to see where our league fits in is some of those players play in both types of leagues, but really the players that are the working, you're kind of starting to work. You're a working professional. You have either kids or you're going away every weekend, or you're doing stuff in life, right? You got to work. You got the 40-hour week. Unfortunately, we have to work in life, right? That's what we have to do. So, being able to have that hobby where you can, get out, you're not playing softball, you're playing baseball. And our league supports that with 1 or 2 games a week. And the schedule's a little bit longer, right? So you come out of college, you want to play like, you want to play a game or two a week and play good baseball. That's where our league fits in. And I've seen this over the years because now I'm one of the older folks in the league, is being able to see that transition. You don't think about this as much when you're like 22, 23 years old. You're thinking about the time, what you're doing now, but it's really a lifelong relationship that happens in the league. So, you're 18, then you join a 28 plus team, and then you join a 38 plus team like that. What we try to provide is an environment where you're playing from your late teens, early 20s, all the way up to you can't play anymore. And that's just playing and relationships. And that's what we try to offer as a league. And we've had a lot of good success with our players, but also working with players in other leagues too.
All right, and then final question. For just a final message to anyone watching, why should viewers come watch games this season? Just a final message to anyone watching why they should come, not only to regular season games, but tournaments and playoff games as well. Like what can they expect when they come to a game?
when we love having fans at our games. When fans come to the games, it's a great opportunity to see people play. They're not making money. They're not making money. They're not going to the pros. They're just enjoying getting out. And you can see some good baseball. There's some good baseball, and there's some bad baseball too. But it's all part of the mix. It's guys having fun, which you can see some spectacular plays. And just come out and watch and support your local folks.